Welcome, beloved friend. Before we begin today's prayer, take a moment to breathe, to slow down, to settle your heart. In our busy lives, it's easy to forget this truth. Every breath you take is a gift. Every sunrise is a miracle. Every moment you live is God's grace. Today we enter a sacred space of gratitude not just because it's Thanksgiving season, but because God deserves our praise every day. Thanksgiving is more than a holiday marked on the calendar. It is a sacred, intentional pause, a moment to step back, breathe, and recognize that every blessing we have comes from God. Our life, our strength, our protection, our daily provision, none of it is random. All of it flows from His hand. History reminds us that the very first Thanksgiving did not happen in peace or abundance. It was born in the middle of hardship. The pilgrims faced sickness, hunger, bitter loss, and overwhelming uncertainty. And yet, despite the weight of their struggles, they chose to give thanks. They didn't express gratitude because life was perfect. They didn't celebrate because everything finally made sense. They gave thanks because God was faithful, and they trusted that even in their suffering, God was shaping a greater purpose. Today we continue that legacy. We choose gratitude not because our lives are flawless, but because God remains good, steady, and unfailing in every season. Maybe today you're carrying burdens no one else can see. Stress that steals your focus, exhaustion that weighs on your spirit, financial pressure that keeps you awake at night, a heart that feels heavier than you admit, silent fears you don't talk about, prayers you've whispered for years with no visible answer. And yet, even in all of this, gratitude remains powerful. Not because gratitude ignores reality, but because gratitude changes how we see reality. It is not denial, it is perspective. We don't thank God because life is always easy. We thank Him because He is always with us. We thank Him because His promises remain steady, even when our circumstances feel unstable. We thank Him because His love has no conditions, no limits, and no expiration date. Right now, your path may feel uncertain, your future may feel foggy, and your heart may feel vulnerable, but God has not changed. He is still your provider, still your protector, still your healer, still your comfort, still your hope in every season. Gratitude is not just something we express with words. It is something that reshapes the heart from the inside out. When we pause to recognize God's goodness, our worries lose their power, our fears lose their volume, and our perspective begins to shift. Gratitude reminds us that God is working even in moments that feel ordinary, quiet, or disappointing. It reminds us that blessings are not always loud or dramatic. Sometimes they come as breath in our lungs, strength to rise, clarity for one more step, or peace that carries us through the day. When we thank God intentionally, we open the door for His presence to fill our thoughts. Worship begins to rise. Hope becomes louder. Faith grows stronger, and the heaviness we carry begins to lift. Gratitude doesn't erase problems, but it anchors us in truth that God is present, God is faithful, and God is still writing our story. Every thankful moment becomes a seed that grows joy, peace, and spiritual strength, even in seasons that feel uncertain. So often, we wait for something big before we feel grateful. A breakthrough, a miracle, a long-awaited answer. But God's goodness is woven into the small, quiet moments we experience every single day. Every morning you wake up, that is God's mercy. Every breath you take, that is God sustaining you. The strength to work, the clarity to think, the ability to love and be loved, these are not ordinary things. These are blessings we walk past without noticing. Gratitude helps us slow down long enough to see what God has been doing and all along. It opens our eyes to the protection we never saw, the answered prayers we forgot to acknowledge, the battles God fought that we didn't even know about. Even the people in your life, family, friends, mentors, supporters, are gifts sent by God at the exact moment you needed them. And even those who left, who hurt you, or who didn't stay, their absence may have been the space God used to guide you, shape you, and draw you closer to Him. When we choose to recognize these everyday blessings, our hearts soften, our faith deepens, and our gratitude becomes genuine, not just for the big miracles, but for the countless small ones scattered throughout each day. True gratitude isn't limited to the moments when everything is going well. It's also choosing to trust God in seasons that feel confusing, delayed, or painful, because sometimes the blessings we don't understand right now become the very things God uses to protect us later. There are prayers God answered with a yes, and we celebrate those easily. But there are also doors He closed for our good relationships. He removed for our protection opportunities. He delayed to prepare us in battles. He allowed so our faith could grow stronger. These moments don't always feel like blessings at first. Sometimes they feel like loss. Sometimes they feel like disappointment. Sometimes they leave us wondering, God, why this? Why now? But gratitude says, Lord, even when I don't understand, I trust you. It says even the hard places will be used for my good. Every season has a purpose. Every delay has direction. Every struggle has a seed of growth hidden inside it. And when we thank God in all circumstances, we align our hearts with His wisdom, His timing, and His perfect plan. Gratitude in hard seasons becomes an act of worship, a declaration that God is still in control and still writing a story far greater than we can see. Gratitude is more than a feeling, it is a doorway. Every time we give thanks, we step closer into God's presence. Worship becomes easier, peace becomes stronger, and the noise of life grows quieter around us. The Bible tells us, enter His gates with thanksgiving and His courts with praise. That means gratitude is not optional. It is the pathway that leads us directly into His presence. When we thank Him, even for small things, we invite His Spirit to renew our minds and calm our hearts. Gratitude shifts the atmosphere of our inner world. An anxious heart becomes steady. A tired spirit becomes refreshed. A discouraged soul begins to feel hope again. Because where gratitude rises, God's peace follows. And something powerful happens when we choose to thank God first. Before the miracle, before the breakthrough, before the answer arrives. This kind of gratitude declares, Lord, I trust you completely, not because of what I see, but because of who you are. When gratitude becomes a daily habit, our faith strengthens, our joy deepens, and our spiritual vision becomes clearer. We begin to see God not just in the victories, but in the waiting, the healing, and the process. Gratitude doesn't change God. It changes us, preparing our hearts to receive everything He has already prepared. Gratitude isn't just an emotion we feel on good days. It is a spiritual discipline that builds unshakable faith. Every time we choose to thank God, we train our hearts to trust Him more deeply. Faith grows when we look back and remember how many times God has carried us, rescued us, strengthened us, and provided for us. Gratitude keeps those memories alive. It reminds us that if God was faithful before, He will be faithful again. When challenges rise, gratitude shifts our focus from the size of the problem to the greatness of our God. It steadies our spirit, it strengthens our endurance. It helps us stand firm when everything around us feels unstable. Gratitude also breaks the power of fear. Fear whispers, "You're alone." Gratitude declares, "God is with me." Fear says there is no way out. Gratitude says God will make a way. This is why grateful people are strong people, because their hope is anchored in God, not in circumstances. When we practice gratitude daily, our faith becomes rooted, resilient, and ready for whatever God is preparing next. We begin to face life not with worry, but with confidence that God's hand is guiding every step. Gratitude doesn't just lift our mood, it builds a foundation that storms cannot break. Gratitude also opens our eyes to the people God has placed around us. Because no one walks through life alone. Some people encourage us, some challenge us, some teach us, and some simply stay by our side when we need support the most. Every person who loves you, prays for you, checks on you, or helps you carry your burdens is a gift from God. Their kindness is not an accident. Their presence is not random. God sends the right people at the right time, often long before we understand why. And even the people who left your life, the ones who disappointed you, hurt you, or walked away, God can use them too. He can use their absence to protect your peace, redirect your path, or prepare you for someone better, wiser, and more aligned with His purpose for you. Gratitude helps us release bitterness and embrace healing. It allows us to say, "Thank you, Lord, for every person you brought, and thank you for every person you removed." Because God sees what we cannot see. He knows who belongs in our future and who was only meant to be part of our journey for a season. When we thank God for the people in our lives, past and present, our hearts soften, our relationships strengthen, and our ability to love grows deeper. Gratitude reminds us that every connection has a purpose and every relationship is part of God's greater plan. As we come to the close of this time together, remember that gratitude is more than a holiday tradition. It is a way of life. It transforms our hearts, strengthens our faith, and opens the door for God's presence to fill every moment. Thankfulness is not reserved for perfect days, nor only for answered prayers. It is choosing to trust God in every season, in the waiting, the struggles, the quiet victories, in the moments we cannot yet understand. Every breath we take, every sunrise we witness, every person who walks beside us, these are gifts from God. Even the challenges, the closed doors, and the delays are opportunities to grow, to rely on His wisdom, and to see His hand at work in ways we cannot yet see. So today, choose gratitude. Let it rise from your heart like incense. Turn your thoughts into rivers of praise and your life into a testimony that proclaims, "The Lord has been faithful. He is with me, and He is working all things for my good." Carry this thankfulness into your home, your relationships, and every corner of your day. Trust that God is guiding every step and that the best blessings are still ahead. Live with a heart that constantly says, "Thank you, Lord." All is grace, all is gift, and all is because of your love.